Alright, Jay the ENTJ back here for another video. Alright, this video is going to be about me and ENTJ and dealing with extroverted feeling, which is my least preferred function. Um, Probably extroverted feelers may be offended a touch by this. Hopefully not, because it's not meant to be offensive. It's just kind of, meant to you know, uh, detail the difficulties that a dominant extroverted thinker has, with a dominant extroverted feeler. Specifically, I don't know about I'm not going to get into the auxiliary extroverted feelers as much, but just talking about dominant TE versus dominant FE. Okay, I have a little bit of experience with this, which is why I'm doing this. I've got two people either in my life now or who have been a part of my life at some point, who have dominant FE, and I do have one person in my life as well, or that was a part of my life that has auxiliary FE, and you know, it's difficult for me to understand how they make their decisions. Just like it will be difficult for them to understand how I make my decisions, because just like extroverted feeling is eighth, in my function order, extroverted thinking is eighth, okay, in their function order. So obviously, me being the ENTJ dominate with extroverted thinking, and then the ESTJs dominate with extroverted thinking as well, and then the ESFJs dominate with extroverted feeling, as well as the ENFJs. Now, I don't have any actual experience with ENFJs, but you know, ESFJs are the type that I do have experience with, who have extroverted feeling. And I think for me personally, the extroverted feeling just kind of gets on my nerves, because I feel like they're always trying to, you know, um, do what everybody else wants rather than doing what they want to do. Everybody else's feelings and considerations are, put ahead of their own, and they tend to prioritize those situations in which the group or the collective will be in harmony. And I'm not saying that that's not okay, but it's just that the problem is the um, the overemphasis on the political correctness is annoying for me. Okay, because it comes across just as being fake or what have you. And I have a hard time dealing with that. So for me personally, extroverted feelers really drain me a lot. Obviously they can be very beneficial, especially in diplomatic matters and things of that nature, and having people kind of get along and stuff. And so they have a place. It's not that they don't. It's just that from a relationship perspective, especially me being with an extroverted feeler is very difficult to deal with. I think that now that I have an understanding of what it is that they're about, it's easier for me now to at least understand why they're doing what they're doing. I still don't necessarily like it that much, okay? And it really takes effort for me, to deal with it, even though I understand why they're doing it. Because before I just thought that, man, these people they're just doing stuff, and you know, you think they're almost doing it on purpose. But when you study the personality types and the functions, you realize that when people have these functions that dominate their personality, they're not doing stuff on purpose. It's an innate thing, okay, that they're compelled to do from within. So I try not to get too frustrated, not understanding that, hey, this is just how they operate. It just is what it is. You knowing what you know now about the functions, it's your job, or as much as possible, to try to understand and cope with what it is that they're doing, okay? Because you know what it is, okay? You've read all about it, you know, and I've watched videos um, of all these different types, so I do understand at this point that people aren't doing things on purpose just to get on my nerves and to have me pull the little hair that I have out, okay? It's just that even though you know that this is what they're compelled to do, you're still drained by it, and the further away it is from your dominant function, the more draining it is, so ESFJs obviously, as far as what frustrates me about them is just the whole, you know, making everybody else happy thing, prioritizing others, ahead of themselves, coming across as being, you know, um, interested in things that they probably aren't even interested in, but they're acting as though they are interested because they feel like that'll make you happy, or at least keep the peace in that situation. And I have introverted feeling, and even though my introverted feeling is inferior, okay, it still operates such that hey, I care what I feel, and I'm going off of something within myself, to make a decision, when I use my introverted feeling. And so I just can't relate to the whole let me cater to what everybody else is doing thing nearly as much as they can naturally, So they're always doing something for somebody else, and it's just like having been in a relationship with an ESFJ, it's like I felt like the problem that I had with that situation is she's a great person, okay, and ESFJs, are very nice. Don't get me wrong, very cordial, polite generally, and all that. It's just that you may, as a relationship partner, get put on the back burner a ton because they're doing everything for everybody else. And you don't get prioritized the way you would prefer, especially if you're an introverted feeler. You'll feel like, you're being neglected to a degree. And that's something that I just can't deal with. And also being an extrovert on top of that, it's like, you're going to have to, pay more attention to me. Okay? The hell with everybody else at times. But yeah, that's an ESFJ. But ESFJs have a lot of value. Don't get me wrong. If you need like to host a party or something like that, or something where hospitality is involved, ESFJs are unbelievable at that. I've also been with an INFJ, and INFJs are also very diplomatic. Not necessarily on the level of an ESFJ. They're not as demonstrative, with their desire to want to, please others. Okay, but it's still there. Okay, it's just a little bit less, I guess, animated or energetic or whatever. It's there. you know. And yeah, they're just always doing things for others, and that's great. It's just that when you're in a relationship with them, you really have to understand going in that what, you're not necessarily going to be the center of attention. You're just going to be a part of the collective of people that they deal with, and you almost have to get in line in certain areas because you know that while they deal with you, and they even want to maybe deal with you, they're going to want to deal with these other people too. And sometimes they're not going to want to deal with them, but they're going to be compelled to deal with them because they don't want to come across as being, someone who is inconsiderate of the other person's feelings, or they don't want to come across, as not caring, about the other person, or even though they may not care as much as they claim to, but they never want to be looked at as the bad guy. They want to be liked tremendously, and it's just something that if you don't have extroverted feeling, it's going to be difficult for you to deal with that. So if you are in a relationship with somebody who has extroverted feeling, and you're a dominant extroverted thinker, just know that you're really going to have to try really hard to make sure that you understand, where they're coming from, because it's not going to be natural for you, and vice versa as well. So, um, all, ESTJs and ENTJs who are with or desire to be with an ESFJ or an ENFJ, just understand that you're just going to be a part of the picture, and you're not necessarily going to be above anybody else to any large degree. You know, other people are going to take precedent over you at times, because the extroverted fielders just think that that's important for them. So hopefully this was helpful for anybody who has extroverted thinking, and hopefully extrovert fielders aren't too put off by this. I just want to put that out there and get my take on it personally. If anybody else has a take on it, feel free to leave a comment. Later.